I'll start us off. Nicole Gosling had another great game tonight. Could you just talk about what you've seen and how she stepped up since Ambrose has been out?
Yeah, I mean, I think Gauze continues to grow. Obviously with playing with 6D, it gives our D opportunities to play in a lot of different situations, and Gauze has been proving time and time again that, she is going to be an elite defender in this league and throughout her entire career. So I think she's just getting started, and we're happy she's on our team.
Hi, question for Marie. Were you feeling the love from the crowd? There were a lot of cheers with all the Olympic tributes and storybook endings, scoring the shootout winner. I mean, how was that feeling for you?
Yeah, for sure. It is very special. We feel the love, like obviously through the Olympics, coming back on home soil, playing in Canada, playing in Toronto. We feel the love, and we're so lucky. And obviously, you do get emotional. We kind of caught eye contact with Blairo, with Renata before the game, and obviously we do feel that love. It was a quite emotional week last week, and obviously being able to play against each other and feel that love was really special.
For Sandra, just after those 2 goals, how were you able to kind of regroup and make some big saves towards the end of the game there?
I mean, honestly, it was just a whole team effort at that point. Nobody was mad at me for anything. I know you would hope so, but you never know. I'm just kidding.
No, we're not.
No, I wouldn't expect it any differently. Honestly, from these guys, they're great. They've been so supportive. They've been so super hyped when everyone found out that I was getting the start. So it was honestly just them keeping me positive, and then I was able to clear my head from that as well and stay positive, and that's how I am personally able to then make some saves.
Just, I guess for any of you, 6-game winning streak now going back to before the break, just how have you been able to keep that momentum up through a really long stretch of time here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is hard to keep the momentum at times, and I think just approaching it as kind of different segments of time. I think every time I go to media, I get told that there's some sort of new streak that I would prefer us not to talk about. And, for us, we looked at these 3 games as just kind of like a small little microcycle that we wanted to focus on, take it game by game. We knew, we're not the healthiest team right now. We don't have everybody in the lineup, but we wanted to just focus on how we could get 3 points every game. And I thought the group that has dressed every single game has done their best. And, I love that the team wanted 9 out of 9 points. We got 8 out of 9. We're happy with that. But there was lots of learning tonight too, and it's very valuable to be able to learn in some of these moments as we continue to push down the stretch. So, we have another kind of segment coming up with 12 days off, off of games. And so we're just looking at that as winning that moment. And then we come out facing Boston March 15th, and then that'll be a new moment in time. So it's really just about chunking the season up into small parts.
And then for Marie, just how did you adjust in the shootout after Reagan kind of played your first attempt super aggressively, and then you came back and scored the next 2?
Yeah, I mean, she's a great goalie. She's played well all year long. That first one, she kind of caught me off guard, obviously. But I just needed to reset, and obviously we had that big goal from Abby and Nat, and obviously some big save from Sandy there. And honestly, like Sandy said it, having that team behind us does help. Obviously, sometimes that goes in, sometimes doesn't go in, but it's part of it, and obviously, lucky enough, it went in.
Thanks.
This one's for Sandra. Being a backup goalie in this league is very tough, obviously. Being a backup to Anne Renee is probably even tougher. When you get the call like this, do you see it coming? Is there a plan? Do you know this is going to be my game?
I mean, the plan is probably a question for Kori, honestly. No, I mean, I don't think it makes it harder to play behind Anne. It just helps me so much, being on the ice with her, in practice every single day. We have a really great connection, all 3 of us, honestly, and we get along super well, and we can learn from each other. And I mean, watching her, she does so many things perfectly. So it's just learning from that just by watching her alone. And I mean, yeah, as a backup goalie in this league, like it's hard to get into these games. Like they're really hard games, obviously, and but that's kind of like the role, and like you just kind of want to use your chance whenever you can. And then, like I said earlier, like having this team behind me like helps me so much with that.
Thank you.
For Kori, Maggie Flaherty came in last summer, and how have you seen her progression over the course of the season now that you've had her for half a season with another point today with that big shot from the point, creating the rebound?
Yeah, I mean, Maggie was a big off-season acquisition for us. She was a big target. We wanted her on our team. We saw what she could do in Minnesota, and Minnesota used her kind of in a different way as the season went on there. At times she wasn't in the lineup, and we just saw, like, with her release that she has from the point, it's one of the best in the league. Her physicality, and then I think she fits in really well with the group. Like, she's goofy and fun and serious probably at times when she's laying a big hit on the ice. But I love that. I love that she just came in from another team. She, didn't know much about Montreal. So that was a big trust on her part to also come to us. And I think she's fit in really well. And we got to meet her mom when we were in Minnesota. And she was great. And oftentimes when you get to meet the parents, you really feel grateful that you can kind of take care of their kids too, but also, like, we know we have good people when we meet their parents because they're all so amazing, and Maggie's been such a bright spot for us this year.
And when you get to a shootout, like when you have so many different options that you can go to, like what is your approach on a shot-by-shot basis on a night like tonight?
I'd like to know.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to Pooh. No, I mean, the thing is for us, like, a little bit is, who you know are gonna, like, automatically score, and then also who's having a good night, who might be feeling a little bit more confident. Pooh mentioned Nat hadn't played in a while, but we know she's pretty automatic on shootouts as well. So she scored a big goal for us, and sometimes we're gonna go to Pooh probably more, and sometimes maybe if others had a goal or are looking pretty confident, we'll go in that direction too. So we kind of have a group of players that we're going to go to, and then it's honestly a feeling of who might be able to put it in.
Just another question for Sandra. Obviously, the shootout is not like anything else in hockey. So can you just talk a little bit about the mental state you put yourself in ahead of a shootout, and kind of a little bit of your strategy about giving away any secrets?
To be honest, before like this summer, I absolutely hated shootouts. And like going into a shootout with that mindset, you're not gonna come out on the positive end, honestly. Like if you go into it negatively, like you're not setting yourself up for success, to be honest. And so like in the summer I was like working a lot on that, like to the extent that you want to. Obviously it's not the biggest focus to work on shootouts, but yeah, just going into it positively. Like even towards the end of like overtime, I was like, so what? Even if we go into a shootout, like we can score, I can make saves. Obviously they probably scored a few more than I would have wanted them to, but we scored on the other end as well. And yeah, I think just going into it positively, and even if you do get scored on one of them, like just continuing on with the next one.
And then for Kori, obviously in this there's been a lot of talk about Troy Ryan and his future with Team Canada. I was wondering if you could talk about that and talk about any interest on your part from possibly taking that role if it becomes available.
Yeah, I mean, Troy and I haven't really had a chance to regroup since the Olympics. We haven't caught up yet, but obviously Troy has put in a tremendous amount of work to the Canadian program. He turned the program around with Gina and with the core leadership group that we had there as players. And I couldn't be more grateful for the expertise that he has provided me with over the past six years. And I've learned a lot from him. And I was fortunate enough as a pretty young coach starting with him that he just kind of threw me into the deep end, and you have to figure it out, sink or swim. And luckily I had some floaties and I was able to swim a little bit. But I haven't really put too much thought into that right now. I mean, it's nice that we can now kind of focus on the Victoire and focus on what we need to do here. And, if there's ever an opportunity with Team Canada, we'll approach that when it comes. And But right now, just focused on Montreal.
Good?
Good.
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.